I'm Lily O'Reilly. This is Lily O'Reilly Reviews, and today we're going to tackle a Ko-Fi commissioned video on sexual rejection and sexual frustration. So let's get to that, huh? Okay, so recently I was commissioned to do a video, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the email, on the long-term effects of sexual rejection, sexual frustration, and a lack of intimacy within a relationship. From the tone of the email, it sounded as though we were talking about a long-term level of rejection, and I'm going to be structuring my responses appropriately. Okay, so to start with, what is intimacy? There are two main forms of intimacy. There's emotional and physical. Now, these two can go together or they can be completely separate. Emotional intimacy is feeling as though you can expose intimate parts of yourself, vulnerable parts of yourself, to someone and have them accept those parts and show vulnerability in return. Emotional intimacy is present in intense friendships, healthy familial relationships, healthy romantic relationships. It's a core component. Physical intimacy, on the other hand, is touch. It's being able to be physically close to someone in a way that both you and them enjoy, in a nutshell. Now, because this commission specifically wanted to talk about physical intimacy, we're going to set the emotional part off to one side. We have acknowledged that it is important in healthy relationships. We are going to assume that it is present, and we're going to set it off in its own little basket to deal with at a later date, later video date. Cool? Cool. So, physical intimacy. Why is it important? Well, our skin is our largest organ. It is the primary way in which we engage with the things around us. I would argue right up there with sight. Being able to touch and be touched by primarily another human is important because it triggers a lot of chemicals in your brain. This is part of why, when you get into a new relationship with somebody, you get that happy, giddy intimacy, and why a lot of us have a lot of sex, because you're chasing that feeling. Because your brain drugs you. Your brain wants you to touch and be touched, and it drops a lot of really nice chemicals into your system when you do. You get oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, primarily. There are others. Neurobiologists, feel free to chime in. I'm not one. Now, this is important because oxytocin specifically is a drug that is linked to trust, bonding, devotion. They did a really cool study where they had people, I think they sniffed oxytocin. And afterwards, they were more likely to trust the people they were paired with in this experiment. It has measurable effects. Now, this is important because oxytocin plus dopamine plus serotonin do things to your body. They counter your anxiety. They lower your stress. They lower your blood pressure. They increase your immune system response. Getting touched regularly is incredibly good for you. So, what do you do if you are not getting touched? You might actually be suffering from a phenomenon that's called skin hunger. There's been studies on this in infants where babies that aren't touched, that aren't given like skin-to-skin contact, their neurological development is stunted. They can be a little bit behind in their growth phases because we need this on a visceral evolutionary level. So, there are two reasons I'm going to touch on why you might not be getting touch and how you can resolve them. Three reasons. 1, you are in a relationship with a person that does not want to touch you. 2, you are single and our society does not involve enough touching. This is a thing that really bothers me because I grew up in a casual touch kind of household, a casually affectionate household. It was very difficult for me when I went to school, especially college. People don't touch. They don't platonically cuddle. There's not enough skin-to-skin contact, and it starts to create that skin hunger phenomenon if you're not in a situation where you can get touched. And 3, if you are asexual or sexually repulsed and you don't want to have sex, our society doesn't give us a lot of ways to get touched outside of sexual relationships. So, I got some options for you that might help you resolve your skin hunger, increase your physical intimacy, and get the kind of touching that you want. 1, if you have a partner and your partner is not touching you, talk to your partner. Like, I know that sounds super basic, but I know a lot of people aren't going to consider it. This does not mean, because if you go back to my consent videos, this does not mean that you get to be all, I feel like we should be having the sex and you need to be putting out because I want the sex. We don't do that. We don't guilt. We don't badger. We don't do any of that. But it's perfectly okay to go to your partner and be like, look, I need some skin-to-skin contact. If you, for whatever reason, do not want to have the sex, there's options. Things like trading casual massages, holding hands, hugging, doing that thing where you sit on opposite ends of the couch and like you get your feet across their lap, or they've got their feet are on laps. Stuff like that. Anything that gives you touching, it will help. Will it help as much as sex? No. Like, I'm just going to be real with you because we're in the middle of quarantine. I haven't gotten laid since February, and I think we're at the end of July right now. I'm getting into the skin hunger phase myself because while I have roommates that I am platonically willing to cuddle, touch, we do the couch foot thing. It does not sate the same desires as having sex because you're not getting that level of skin-to-skin touch. But if you're in a monogamous relationship with somebody that does not want to have sex with you, these low-grade ways of touching can help. Same thing if you are not in a relationship or you don't wish to be sexual. Enlisting friends or family? I don't know, I cuddle my mom. But enlisting people to touch you in ways that are non-sexual but skin to skin can help. It gives you the chemicals in the good way. Other things you can do. Pets. There have been studies that state that petting a dog or cat, and I'm willing to honestly say this probably extrapolates out to any kind of pet that you can touch without damaging them. It lowers your blood pressure. It raises your immune response. It lowers your pain. It lowers your perception of pain. It might not make things stop hurting, but as anyone who's ever had cramps and had a cat lay on their abdomen, it makes things a little less awful. So if you have a pet, or you can borrow a pet, or you can volunteer somewhere like a humane society to take dogs on walks, sit and cuddle a pet. It works best if it's a pet that you know and like, but any kind of pet touching does a little bit of what we need up in the brain. It's a pretty good option. Other things that you can do. Go get professional massages. I've been getting, not during quarantine, but I've been getting professional massages for about a year now because I've got some muscular issues. It's amazing. And it's not as expensive as you would think. I grew up poor. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I grew up poor. I thought that massages were something that you could only have if you could also afford a yacht and a summer home. They're actually really cheap. Some places will let you do as little as a 30-minute massage. I feel like the sweet spot for a really good, gets you relaxed massage is like an hour, but half an hour is great if that's what you can afford. And you get to strip down, have someone's hands on you in a non-sexual manner, but that touching releases a lot of those really pleasant brain chemicals, and they find all those really awful knots and take them out. So you feel a lot better afterwards. It is an amazing way to get a little bit of touching and help out some of your underlying medical issues. I wholeheartedly endorse massages. So, now we are on to the part that is perhaps a little more ethically dubious. So, this primarily refers to people that are in relationships who are not getting touched, who want to get touched. You can outsource. What do I mean by outsourcing? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you can always enlist people for platonic touching that are not your partner. This goes best if you get your partners okay with it. You can cheat. I don't personally endorse or condone cheating because it's messy, it's complicated. Your partner is not consenting to it de facto because it's cheating. And it can have a lot of unintended consequences if you wind up cheating with somebody and they catch feelings and they then wreck your primary relationship. You might get the touching, but I feel like the side effects and drawbacks are sufficient that I can't condone that option. You could talk to your partner about opening your relationship. I am not the biggest fan of open relationships, personally. I've had a few that were terrible, and it's really colored my view of them. I acknowledge this bias. But if you feel as though that is a way to get your needs met, and you go to your partner and you say, hey, this is a thing I need, and they consent to it, go forth. Good luck. I am not the person to talk to about it, but it is an option if it's something that you need to try. Okay. Now, the final option is the one that's going to get me all the hate comments, but you could see a sex worker. I view this as kind of a gray area between cheating and being monogamous, because I am based in the US. The things I am going ready to say only apply to the US as far as I know. In the US, sex work, in-person sex work, the kind that would get you physical touching, is not legal. I know that like across the pond and in Australia, some of y'all have pulled your heads out of your asses and it's either decrimmed or legalized, and good on you. Here it is not. So there are risks in that you are doing something that is dodgy on the legality side. But you're supporting a small business owner. You're getting the kind of touching you need. You're seeing a professional who does not want to take you home with them at the end of the day. So you don't have to worry about the things like with cheating where they might catch feels and try to wreck your relationship. Assuming you're seeing somebody reputable. It is a way for you to get intimacy, touch, and sexual fulfillment without necessarily causing some of the problems of cheating or the hassles of opening a relationship. It's a gray area ethically for me, so I'm not necessarily going to endorse or non-endorse, but it is an option. I have kind of a limited knowledge base there. I know you need to find somebody that's reputable. You need to read their website and do whatever they tell you to do. And don't haggle. Yeah. I've got a couple friends that are full service, but like, I don't know. That's what I got. And before y'all DM me, that's not a me thing. Sorry, you're going to have to find somebody else. But there are options. If you are in a situation where you are not getting the touch you need, you got things you can try. Start with your partner if you have one and talk to them. If you don't have a partner, or your partner's being a dick about it, pet cuddles are good. Professional massages are very, very good. Absolutely can recommend. Platonic cuddles are great. And then outsourcing is an option that comes with risks and drawbacks and benefits, and you have to make that cost-benefit analysis for yourself. No one knows your situation like you do. But I sincerely hope that some of the options that I've put forth here will help you make a more balanced and well thought out decision going forward with how to get your skin hunger sated. Yeah. So, as always, if you want to find me anywhere that I exist online, that's allmylinks.com/Lily O'Reilly. If you would like to throw me $3 or a multiple of $3, or if you would like to commission a video like this one, any non-review video, they're like $25, and that's all on ko-fi.com/Lily O'Reilly. Thank you, all of you, because I've had a lot of these come in lately, for commissioning videos. It really helps me produce a variety of content on my channel, and I very much enjoy having the opportunity to do research and come to you and give you the benefit of what knowledge I am able to scrape off the dingy walls of the internet. So, until next time, be good, do good things, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys!